All right. That intro just never really we gotta get the music going on that intro, doesn't it?
It's a bit weird, isn't it? Because you see the intro, but there's no music, so it's kind of like a bit.
We just stand here in awkward silence for a bit. How are you doing? It's just me and you today. KBM. What has happened to KBM's account, by the way? Have you been noticing what's happened?
His Twitter account.
Yeah, he's all he tweets about is birds, like actual birds.
Yeah, I did notice that. So he's like grooming birds in his back garden or something. Like,
I wouldn't go that far.
but,
I think the word is pruning birds, but yeah, he's doing.
That's what he says.
He's doing stuff with birds, and then he's just on post food stuff. I think he's trying to do well for Fantasy Top.
Right. Oh, because you earn money from it.
I don't know. KBM doesn't need the money from Fantasy Top, so I think he just feels bad that he doesn't post that much.
Cracking open a beer here, just sort of need a beer. It's one of those weeks where I just need to have a beer.
I do feel like your mental health has really descended in the last few weeks.
It's just, you know what it is? I think summer is just generally a terrible trading environment. Oh yeah, we have a code thing. But usually I'll just switch off in the summer if there's nothing going on. And last summer I just watched cricket, just played loads of golf, barely spent any time in front of screens. But now since we had the baby right at the beginning, well, in the middle of, sort of at the beginning of summer, beginning of July, I've been at home a lot. So then it's just sort of like COVID vibes, right? Because you just do stupid shit on the internet, but the market hasn't been conducive to it. So
if you hadn't had the Trump loss, do you think you'd be happy? And
I'd still be pissed off, to be honest with you, because I chopped myself up on other stuff. I'm actually not, the Trump's thing is not the thing that I'm most annoyed about. Obviously it's the biggest dollar loss for me, but it's just I've just done so many. I've just I had such a good year.
Yeah.
Had some really good positions. Was really good about not selling stuff low. Was really good about scaling out of stuff. Sold stuff into fiat. I just did everything to a T. It was perfection. And then I just went rogue in the middle of summer and just all went to shit really. And it's it's still fine because what I've lost is probably 10% of my year, but the numbers are still big. And it's just you just think, well, as a percentage wise, it's not really that bad. Then you think, well, if I just didn't lose that, I could have actually done something useful with that money. But
it is annoying to tune into a fucking casino every single day and then not have that many chips to play at the casino. Then you just you see through it all and you're just oh crap, this is. But I just notice it in your tweets or your messages to me at least. It's just different faces. You literally did a tweet the other day, which was purely just depression. We should bring that one up.
That was a good tweet.
Because I've been putting out more meme content, and I didn't know if you clapping back with I tried to look through it. I was like, wow, this guy is not having a good period right now.
List of memes that best describe this bull market.
Yeah, that's the one. I don't know if Rekt or you want to bring it up, but it's depressing to watch, really. What's been going on with your account recently?
It's not just me, really, is it? I think everyone's just having a bit of. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you're someone who trades majors, if you're someone who trades alts, if you're someone who trades memes, it's just been a terrible trading environment, really, and also a terrible holding environment because we haven't really ever broken out much, and things have been trending a bit lower. I do feel like we're sort of at the end of it all. It feels like, I don't want to say the final shakeout before we rip higher, but you would think post summer things start to look interesting again, and especially as we get into elections. And I know September historically is a bearish month, but I think this cycle is different or this year is different because of elections. Oh yeah.
And then it's just 15 different memes of somebody being depressed.
The best ones are the comfy and spot memes.
Comfy and spot. Man, it's this week as well just felt like a proper kick in the teeth, didn't it? It really felt. It it really felt like we were going to break out for a little bit, you know. Kept on reading that. Oh no, you got to tune back in. We're going to turn up. And I've been saying for a while, I didn't think we were going to break out of this until the election. I thought this was going to be a full-on 9-month chop. But even I believed for a little bit that we were going to break out of it, and then, fucking hell, we've really fallen out of bed even today.
Yeah, I mean, 58.6k on Bitcoin now, and don't even bother looking at your fucking altcoins or meme coins. Like,
ETH, brother. ETH. What is going on at ETH?
Hey, ETH is finished.
ETH Foundation came in and dumped 100 million on everyone just as it felt like it was going to rebound.
If I hadn't sold anything this year, I can't imagine like how upset I'd be. Like, given how upset I am now, having taken profits, like I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who just haven't or full round trip or even sitting on losses right now. I mean, ETH is down on the year, right? So, yeah, it's pretty brutal. It kind of makes me think or subscribe to Kobe's thesis a bit more that this was just sort of like not really a cycle and just
hope so.
It's just had a bit of a pump and then things are stagnant for a while. But you have to think, it's just grim, isn't it? That's the ETH chart, right? That's
the whiff chart, man.
That's the whiff chart. Oh, that's even more grim.
I think ETH.
That is one thing I did sell in wisely. So
yeah. It is the ETH one. I think is the one that's most depressing. It still feels as though when we rally, I think Solana might rally and Bitcoin might have a go, but ETH just, I don't know. Do you think Solana, like, do you think it's kind of over the meme coin cycle? Do you think it's going to continue?
Yeah, I think if I'm being honest, I think just the whole like meme coin casino thing, it feels like what NFTs felt like to me. The NFT casino, I should say, not just NFTs in general, but it feels like what the NFT casino felt to me in 2022, when, like, 2021, there's like, you could just buy anything and it would go up, and you make so much money, and everyone's making a ton of money. And obviously, a market environment like that does not last forever. It just doesn't. It can't possibly last forever. And what happened with the NFT PFP stuff is you just ended up having like a bunch of people launch like project after project after project, and it'd be a lot of like insider supply and like sniping and all that kind of stuff, and then they'll slowly dump the NFTs over time and then make their money and move on to the next one. And that's what it feels like meme coins are now, especially because you have pumped up funds, so it's really easy to do that. So I think that's what meme coins feel like now. Like, in January, there wasn't like a shitload of meme coins. You could buy a few things and they would all generally go up, and it felt like a good environment for making money. Now it's just like you have to. I still think you can make a lot of money trading meme coins now, but you have to really be plugged in 24/7, because you buy something and it feels good and it goes up 50%. By the way, these moves higher now are like 2 or 3x moves higher. They're not like these 10x moves higher, unless you're buying something
on Tron.
Let's buy something that's sub $1 million market cap. But if you're playing with like more size, you're not getting these like easy 5 to 10x. You're sort of getting these like 0.5 to 2x moves, and then any moment during the day something else comes out, sucks the liquidity out, and then you take a 50% hit, and then that's it basically. So you have to be like switched on the whole time to manage these positions, whereas before you could just buy a few things, kind of sit and wait and watch over a few days or a few weeks, and you make a lot of money. And so that's what NFTs were like as well. NFTs went from being that environment to having to become like super sophisticated with bots and all these different trading tools and sniping stuff, and buying stuff with faster gas and being able to undercut people and sell in time and have your one being the one that sold, etc. So yeah, I think
do you think it's over though, or do you think it just got too saturated? Like I
think it's too saturated, and I don't think it's like over, but it feels like it's in a downtrend. And maybe like the one thing I would say, which is positive for meme coins, is every time the market does bounce, meme coins rebound like pretty aggressively. Like people still chase them, and I think that's a positive signal. But you now are reliant on the market to bounce and be sustained, and if it doesn't, then could get pretty ugly for meme coins. So I don't know. Like I
It's
think
already been ugly. What I feel like now is that maybe just like NFTs, the top ones have kind of been made, or now it'll be like which ones survive, because there's a new one every so often that runs, but it's not happening that often, right? Even Fwog, which is like been probably the biggest runner in Solana meme coins for a while, right? Like it really just did a 2x. Like it didn't. Everyone was going absolutely insane on it.
that's what I'm
They
saying.
went from like 30 to 60, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, these moves
I
are not big.
It
went
from 20.
The timeline went mental about Fwog hitting like a $75 million market cap. I think that's what that
which is now down to 50, 55,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
and that's not sitting on Fwog. I think they've done a really good job, but like it's just tells you where we're at, right?
That tells you where we're at. That's a good tweet, to be honest with you. That does tell you where we're at.
Look at that fucking 30-day. That is a bloodbath. So I had this chat the other day on the FOMO show. You might know it. Do you think ETH NFTs are a better risk reward here?
Yes, conceptually. Like I think it feels like to me there's some mind share shifting back towards NFTs, and I think NFTs could do well here. The challenge is picking which NFTs to go into, right? That's the challenge, and it's a bit more difficult. If you're like, oh, I'm really bullish punks, it's not like a fungible token where you can go ahead and buy like 10 grand worth of punks, right? You have to go out there and buy a crypto punk for 75 grand. So it's harder to like express these trades, which is bullish or bearish. I don't know. Like if you get whales all interested in it, then maybe it's bullish, but it's a different kind of.
And look, but the reason I say risk
market.
reward is because I think the lows are probably in for a lot of those NFTs, at least for this cycle. That's what I feel like. I think they hit their lows now. So it's more like, do you think Bored Apes are going to lose 4 ETH and go down to like 9 again? Or do you think they could go up to like 25? I don't think they're going to like 50. And I think the time frame also is long. Like there's still a lot of bag holders, right? There's still a lot of bag holding, people that would sell on a 2x, that sort of stuff. But do you think like as a risk reward trade, they're basically good for the next 12 months? I still I'm still in the meme coin streets, obviously. Like I'm a meme coin dev. Like I do think the best risk reward is still in meme coins, which are like below 10 million, like rather than coins which are you're trying to play for going to 100 to 200 or even 50 to 100. Like it is so insanely difficult to do. But I think with NFTs, I don't see like a 4x in any of those major collections, but they could maybe do a 2x, and I only think their downside is like 20% here.
The thing about ETH NFTs is you're denominated in ETH.
Yeah, exactly. Which is racing to 2,000 right now.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like
I was about to hit hit a 130 handle. What's going on?
where
Nvidia results are coming out today.
Oh God.
So maybe people are getting bearish on that. I don't know.
Yeah, see, is Bitcoin 57 handle now? I see it 58.
It's 58 just. We're holding on by the skin of our teeth. There was some talk, right, that Iran's about to attack Israel again, and we've sold off pretty badly when that's happened. So maybe that's what it is. But like this seems kind of.
So what are we doing? Like, if you were not like tired of trading this chop, would you be buying here? Or it feels like people just, what's interesting is it feels like people just give up when we go to these levels, and then we rally and people FOMO in. And if you were just like not emotional and just trading this chop, if you're trading this chop unemotionally without thinking about concepts of like the end of the cycle or the golden bull run and all these sorts of things, you probably make a decent amount of money just buying the range low and the range high. But obviously no one is actually buying the range low, selling the range high. Obviously no one is actually doing that because it's just not, funnily enough, not really the way people operate. But it kind of feels like this is a buy here. right?
I buy it here, yeah. Like this feels. I don't even know why we're selling off. So, but to be honest, I have been so boring. Well, not boring, but I've just been in JLP, so that's just taken up. It's made me really fucking chilled. I'm telling you. That's been my alpha this cycle. But I even with JLP, I feel like it's now the pool of it's gotten so big. Like a lot of money has gone into that pool, but the APY is coming is nowhere. It's not going to be as high as it was the last 6 months.
What's the API now? APY now?
Well, it depends week to week. It'll be a high week this week because a bunch of people are getting liquidated right now. But it gone down to like 20%.
Oh wow!
But it'd been a very quiet period, like for the last month. But
you know what's funny about funny about JLP? It looks really good when the market sells off because it doesn't really move that much lower. It's sort of like if you just held stables and you looked at like if your charts were like charts of stables versus other coins, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the inverse of all the other like charts, you'd be like, man, I'm like crushing it.
It is yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Such a weird way to put it. An amazing year in crypto.
Look at all these. Look at this chart, man. It's just up only. Look at this massive green candle.
Big fat green dicks and stables. Yeah, you could look at it that way, I guess. I guess the other way is looking at it like versus Bitcoin. If you're a Bitcoin holder, you're destroying all these other altcoins.
I forgot to mention, by the way, we do have another code to give away. I forgot the code. Okay, so if you go to
Buble 50, I think Buble 50.
Yeah, so if you go to rewards.rektdrinks.com, you can use the code Buble50. That's BUBLE50, and that will give you some free bonus drank points on the Rekt Rewards website. That's rewards.rektdrinks.com. What the fuck are drank points? You tell me.
You gonna tell me or
above my pay grade?
Above my pay grade. I've actually seen. Obviously, I am one of the co-founders, but I do see a lot of Rekt Drinks content on my timeline now. Also, random AI content of you, which I think I've really started to enjoy. You're and I see a bird version of you,
a female version of me. and what?
Just saying. Thought about it. That was an easy rank.
Yeah, you basically, if you make content about Rekt Drinks, you're able to compete for drank points, basically. And so if you hit a certain number of likes, you get a certain number of points. And we track it over the course of a week. And at the end of the week, we distribute those points. So as much as I would love to say we're seeing like all this amazing, organic, genuine content about Rekt Drinks, it's all farming.
Nothing wrong with a good farm.
Nothing's wrong with a good farm. No one should feel ashamed about farming. We've all done a bit of farming in our time.
So yeah, you have to sign in every single day for the next year. You don't particularly like meme coins right now, or you think it's still very PvP, which I agree with. I think even just being part of Epic, like I see us bearish flipping. It's a bearish flip of like fucking everything at the moment. It's not looking good out there. NFTs are a bit. Well, they're coming back, but it's still going to be a slog. What are we all going to be betting on? Are you betting on Polymarket? What are you doing to keep yourself busy?
Here's one thing I would say. I still think, I kind of understand there's a bit bearish from meme coins here, but I still think we will see this like one great big pump before the end of the year. And whether that's in September, whether it's closer to elections, I think we will. I don't think this year is done. Like I do think Bitcoin will still retest all-time highs this year. So, we have like 4 months left of this year. And I do think meme coins will go with it. And I think that's the point. You want to exit stuff. I think you want to, if you haven't exited anything yet, that's a good point. And that's kind of what I'm holding on for, really. Like for me now, it's just like I've sold a good amount of stuff over the course of the year. And now it's just like playing with this amount, which is like, can I get that extra like crazy can you play for that crazy like blow off top kind of price action if you get what I mean. And I don't think we've had that yet this year. You can argue maybe you've had it in meme coins, but not even really. Like you've had it in 2 or 3 meme coins. But I still think we can get that kind of price action this year, within the next 2 or 3 months. And I feel like that's where I want to take some good chips off the table. Not everything, because, you know, if Trump wins and he goes out there and is like actually starts executing on the stuff that he's talked about, that's like insanely bullish for crypto, right? Even if it's only a 10% probability, the EV is like insanely high there. So you don't want to be caught with your pants down for that part of the trade.
I just take a step back and just think, I just think there is a generation, and even the generation after us and the generation after that are literally just coming in to, like, let's say, a financial awakening, and they realize they need to fucking gamble. You know, they need to fucking put their money in the most risky thing. If your money wasn't in crypto, the money will just flow to like the next most crazy thing that we can like all make, you know, millionaires out of or something like that. And I just feel as though right now crypto is that thing until the next thing comes along. Like before it was like meme stocks, right? Oh yeah, we'll trade meme stocks or penny stocks before that probably. But now crypto's here. I just don't see it going away. And that need that people have to like, right, that one guy put $10 in a fucking meme coin and walks away with 2 million. That is just always going to be there now. You know, do you know what I mean? I just feel like no one wants to invest in this like boomer stocks. They want to invest in just tech stocks and hopefully do a 10x, or they want to invest in purely the most degenerate gambling stuff they can to try and make it.
It's the hunt for financial freedom, and so many people have achieved it in crypto. Like we both quit our jobs after making a lot of money in NFTs in crypto, right? So like, it's a hunt for financial freedom, and people achieve it in meme coins. And it's like you have different times in the market where it's like, the way that I see it is, you've done really well this year. The chances are you've done really well this year if you'd actually stuck around for the last 2 years. If you were like stuck around in the bear market, kind of plugged in, you would have you would have been around for Pepe, which happened right in the middle of like bad price action. You would have kind of learnt the meme coin landscape that way, and then you would have then been better placed to like see the trends forming, or even like just deploying capital. Like if you'd been through Pepe, then
you bought Sol or something like that. Like a lot of people were in Sol when they
well, if you see what happened with Pepe and you kind of like been through it in December when like the whole whiff stuff started happening, or even bonk before that, you'd be like, man, I've seen how crazy shit can get. Like I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna go in with big size because I think it's worth a gamble because it's possible. Whereas if you hadn't lived through Pepe because you were just like out of the market during the bear market, then you'd be like, oh yeah, I don't really get it. Like I'm not sure. And then obviously whiff happened and it brought in even more people. And then we had what we had. But like with each one, that opportunity declines. It's not like, oh, after whiff, we're going to have another thing that's going to go to like 3 or 4 billion, as we would all hoped. But it doesn't really seem like it's happening because more and more people get involved and it becomes a bit more PvP. It's weird. Like weirdly, we all talk about retail coming in to take us all out. Obviously, I hope everyone realizes we are retail right now, number one. And number two, it's like with more people involved, it's become more PvP because when things do really well, you get, number one, you get more retail users coming in, but number two, you get more bad actors coming in as well. You get all these people launching these tokens with bundled supply and all that kind of stuff. And that really kills the market because it's literally a transfer of funds from retail to bad actors. And that continues to kill the market by death by 1,000 cuts. So that's what's happened really at the moment. And
yeah, I just think people want it. Have you gone into Polymarket though? We should have and also, are we going to jail? Like, what the fuck's going on today? Like OpenSea getting did we just trade securities for the last 5 years or whatever the hell it was?
Well, I think I looked very briefly at that language, and it sounds like they're saying potentially some NFTs on their platform could be considered as securities. I need to like see the language a bit more clearly, but I think it's more to do with the fact that OpenSea is a marketplace for it. I don't think if you sell a piece of digital art, I don't think someone can come to you and say you sold an unregistered security. I just don't think there's any world in which they can successfully say that. Now, if you sold a piece of digital art and you said, I will give you a share of profits from, or a share of royalties, or man, there are so many NFT projects that's like would fail the Howey test. You're probably fucked if you're big enough for them to come after you. And I still see stuff to this day where it's like you can't just. It's like you realize you can't just do that. That makes it security, but digital art is obviously not security, and I don't think someone can really come for an artist who's just creating art for art. But if you're creating NFTs with other utility that can be deemed as you're selling an expectation of profit, then you're in big trouble, I think.
But they were always a little bit tight on that, right? Like they used to not list NFTs sometimes that had those sort of qualities, didn't they? Or they didn't used to get you couldn't get a check from them. Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember that. They wouldn't
give you a check if you like did some certain things.
Yeah, if you had any, it was like profit sharing and royalties.
Yeah.
Profit sharing and royalties, then they didn't allow those platform collections to be on the platform.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, it would kind of suck. I do think that probably some things have sold. Do you think it's to do with Trump though?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Like the day or the day after Trump launches his NFT collection, you have a Wells notice against OpenSea. I think it's not coincidence that
they're coming after Trump. That'd be fucking wild.
Yeah.
Imagine if Trump went down for NFTs.
What do you reckon? Do you reckon Trump's going to win? Like, what's Polymarket saying now?
We should go on Polymarket. There's some fun things on the front page actually. It's 50-50, right? Feels like 50-50.
50-49. So who is even the 1% now? After RFK Jr. dropped out, like
maybe that's his bid offer, but maybe it's like Michelle Obama.
Like so all the fringe, all the scraps, the sum of all the scraps.
Yeah.
This is. I'm kind of like already sick of all the election talk, but I hate to say it, it does feel like this is one of the things that's going to govern our future next year.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, at this stage, we're just fucking betting, right? There's on the front page, it's how many times will Donald Trump tweet in the next week, and $450,000 bet. Like, what is going on? Like,
I can't do this Polymarket stuff. Like,
can't handle it.
Well, I'm not actually, believe it or not, I'm not really much of a gambler. Like, I don't really do. I know that sounds like a completely dumb thing to say, but I don't really do any sports betting. Don't really go to the casino or play any casino games. And I think when you trade or invest, and even if it's meme coins, which is basically very close to gambling, I still feel like you can have an edge in it because you're looking at prices, and prices just are like a resemblance of human psychology and markets, and you can see previous patterns that or previous narratives you've been through, and think, oh, that will apply to this asset and this asset price. And then I think you can make decisions that way, even if it is just on random meme coins. Like, you still have an element of skill, but for this stuff, it's like, well, yeah, maybe for some of the Polymarket stuff, you have an element of skill if you've like done a lot of research on what Trump has said in past conferences and what the topics are coming up in this one, and then he may say these words and whatever. But like, it's just pretty boring, isn't it? Like, it's not really that fun.
Yeah, it does become a bit more niche. I'd agree with that. Like, doesn't feel like crypto as much, right? You can use crypto to bet with it, but it's really just like traditional betting, which some people do for fun. Some people feel that they can have an edge on, but it doesn't feel like the future of France. But at the same time, like, is meme coins at the same time? I just don't know.
I don't even think meme coins. I mean, I think meme coins are great when they have you have a good community behind it, and maybe that has like a brand attached to it, and it stands for like people feeling like they're part of something. But that part of meme coins I really like, and the more successful ones have had that vibe to them, whether it's like Pepe, Mog, or like Whiff and that kind of stuff, like you've had real communities and almost cults that have formed in those meme coins. But that's in terms of like number of, not by market cap, because they're the highest, they form most of the meme coin market cap, but in terms of like number of coins, that's like 1% of coins. Like every other coin is just some random cash grab thing, or just like financial nihilism, or whatever term you want to use, which is just like, I just want to shoot myself in the head because I just feel so brain dead, like looking at the next iteration of this thing, which is, I don't know.
I was thinking today, even on the show that we did earlier, like how much Sol has been locked now in all these LPs, right? Because it all gets burnt. Like that Sol is never coming back.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not that much of pump fun because they don't put a crazy amount in, but I reckon over time it will be big because all the trading fees will go into that pool as well, right? So,
do you think Solana? So this cycle has been about Solana. Do you think that lasts? Do you think the next cycle is still going to be about Solana?
I wouldn't bet the house on it for sure. Like I'm a Sol mercenary. You know what I mean? That's what I've realized. L1s don't become one of these guys that thinks your L1 is like a religion. I see it this cycle as well. Like people have hold on, and they think that like the people that have moved to Solana are like Solana maxis. For me, I'm just there because that's where the stuff's happening this cycle. If everything moves onto a new chain next cycle, then I'll move with it. I'm definitely not sticking around because I feel like the tech is superior or the vibes are superior. Like that's the sort of stuff I think can get people really, really fucked up. Like if you think that because your chain has got this level of security and everyone should use it because of that, and then they don't, and you're sitting there like telling everyone that they should use it because of that, and then they don't, then I think you just, and it might happen with Solana. I don't know. I do think that I don't know if you get ahead with me with an L1, like having a head start even helps. You know what I mean? Like Solana has shown that it can upgrade much quicker than ETH. Right? ETH upgrades take a long time. Solana upgrades generally have taken less time. It's more centralized. They can push through new things, new features more often. ETH takes a long time. So I think there's something about Solana which makes it slightly easier to upgrade. That being said, like the way that it also operates, if you look at like the inflation, the reason why it's cheap and fast is because the inflation right now is like 6 or 7%. And that's gradually coming down to 1.5%. Right? That's gradually going to come down. So I don't know if the chain's going to still have a lot of the same amazing features that it has right now when inflation goes down. And I don't know if Monad or Mega ETH or one of these other ones will come through and be the place where everyone bets on. But yeah, I don't know if it's one of these things where you become a like a Bitcoin maxi by your third cycle. You know, it does feel like a lot of people have who last cycle were like just ETH. Some of them have gone, hey, I'm gonna be a Solana maxi, and some of them who see the same things that take down ETH could take down Solana are just saying, you know what, I'm just gonna own Bitcoin. That's kind of, I feel like, where you went on this conversation. I kind of went earlier towards, right, I'm gonna play with Solana this cycle, although you went with the memes. I feel like you're now just like, I should just own Bitcoin and then punt around in high risk stuff.
I think that's, previously I thought I could just own ETH and punt around in high risk stuff. And so, I mean, that hasn't been the case so far. So it feels like, Bitcoin has other properties and qualities that no other coin really has. And if it does ever get made a reserve currency for the US or, all that kind of stuff, like there's really no other coin that has that, backdrop for it, if that makes sense. So it feels like, I'm looking for things. I'm not, at the end of the day, I've got a lot of shit to do. trying to do all this stuff with Rekt, and I'm not going to be sitting here like trading in the trenches like every second of the day. Like I just can't do that for my whole life. I know some people can, and people who are trying to make it absolutely should, because that's how you make the most money. I think you're muted or something, Michael, by the way.
I put you in a group chat with somebody who's doing that.
Yeah, but I can't do that. Like I just can't. It's just, to me, it's just too like brain numbing. But I really want to have like investments and skin in the game or stuff that you can feel comfortable owning. And I thought that was ETH, but it's clearly it's not, and it's been challenged, and now it feels like the only thing that can be is Bitcoin. But you have to remember Bitcoin massively underperformed ETH last cycle, and that could happen again. And it's just like, what you probably want is to have like a massive position in Bitcoin, and then you probably want to have like your next layer, which is like what's the L1 that's like a higher beta to Bitcoin, and last cycle that was ETH, this cycle that is clearly Sol. Once that's clear, you can have some exposure to that. You don't have to get hung up about catching the low or catching the right point in Rel. And then you have like your degen bucket, which is like meme coins or NFTs or whatever that ends up being. I think that's the best way to go about doing it. Whereas like in 2021 or 2022, I'd have been like, oh yeah, you want to have like Bitcoin, then you want to have ETH, and then you have like other stuff. Whereas I think that second layer after Bitcoin, whether it's ETH or Sol, is not fixed now. That could be anything. But I think you're always going to do well with Bitcoin. You won't do the best with Bitcoin, but you will do well with Bitcoin. If you have another cycle, Bitcoin will go higher, and then you just have to figure out what's the thing that's going to be its beta.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I'm always going to put mine in a bit more in the riskier L1. I don't think I'm just always going to be Bitcoin, because I think if you're in this space every single day, if you are in this space every single day, you do know the stuff that's hot, right? You are able to normally see, okay, this chain's going to start picking up substantially in volume, and that gives you an edge versus the person that's just sitting there at home who just wants to own Bitcoin and not really look at crypto anymore. I do think there is some edge in like being here every day. I don't know, but I feel like there is. So that's why I felt like Sol, we were able to see that Solana was picking up well before. I actually, this may be completely left field, but like I've been looking a little bit at Tron. Not just like because of the memes, but because of like the chain itself. Tron makes more fees than ETH and Sol, right? It makes more fees. It makes Justin Sun's making over $1.5 billion run rate at the moment on Tron. And it only trades at 14 billion. And Russia just said it's going to do all of its trade basically in stable coins, which will probably be on Tron, right? Like that's apparently where all the $1 trillion of stable coins move every day on Tron. How fucking crazy is that?
Yeah, that's mental. That's pretty crazy for a chain that like no one really like gave a fuck about until
I think that figure's
ago, right?
Check. Maybe it's a week, but it's something absolutely insane how much moves on Tron. Yeah, what's this stablecoin volume? Yeah, well, you need to you break it out by USDT. I think must be by month then. What I was talking about. No, maybe I was just completely off. But it's crazy how big the figure is on Tron, basically.
Yeah.
It does feel as though maybe that's the one. If you're betting on the idea that Tripper's gonna be around just for like illegal shit, then maybe Tron is like the most hated rally here. Justin Sun is not leaving. Fucking, has he gone back to China?
I don't know where he is.
If he's back in China, he's not going to Europe anytime soon, or the US.
I think the best thing to do is consolidate. If you've been bleeding money, consolidate into just like more core positions, and then just be patient. I think people are probably like throwing in the towel. A lot of people are very close to throwing in the towel right now. And we're sort of at that point where it's like, end of summer, stuff's going to start picking up again. Like, I think we've got there's
Picking
some
up by
more.
going lower.
No, I don't necessarily. I just think I think there's more to it. I think you just got to stick it through. But if you haven't taken profits this year, or you have round tripped, then you have to just be disciplined and take profits and not get married to your high watermark, which is, I think, the mistake a lot of people make.
Yeah, the high watermark figures. I don't know where I'm down from that. I actually think my high watermark was still in 2021. Like, at the top of the apes, when they were like fucking insane, the high watermark was very high.
Yeah.
I think, but there was no way you could get out of that. I think
you couldn't monetize it. Yeah.
Basically, my all-time high just looks like the JLP chart is now down. I think probably about 4 or 5% from that this cycle.
I just think you can't get married. Yeah, I think the problem is
people are down a lot, right?
Yeah, the problem is people like around April time. I think people were up loads probably, and then just ridden it down for 4 months basically.
So do you think Trump's going to win? That could be a good bet.
I'm a massive conspiracy theorist, and I think when it gets really close, like it is now, it opens it up to being fixed or rigged or cheating. So I don't know which side cheats. I think both sides will probably try to cheat. I don't see why you wouldn't if you're either of them. And it's just whoever cheats the best basically will win. I just have no concept of that. So it's not one of those things where I think I can be like, oh, these are the numbers and this is how it's looking. I can like extrapolate it. I just think someone's going to cheat, and whoever is able to pull off the cheating will win.
Do you think you'll have like the same thing afterwards then, where like a Jan 6th sort of scenario? Man, what a somber stream. Look at that. Yeah, we're saying short sell everything and get into Bitcoin. Is that sort of a stream, guys?
I need to stop doing podcasts because I've been like this for well over a month now, probably about 2 months.
Easily. Getting you in a room. I try to talk about anything left curve. You're like, just buy Bitcoin.
But have I been wrong?
Do you need fun on Polymarket? Nah, mate.
I have to confess, last week I started looking at like some TradFi stuff.
No.
I was like, oh, why don't I buy some stocks? Like, I was looking at gilts, like front dated, short dated gilts.
You went from meme coins to gilts, short dated as well.
Yeah, I was like, I could clip like 10% here.
Oh man, that's bad. I actually have some stables locked up in something a bit wild. Like, do you know Maple Finance? You ever look at that? No. You should look at it. We may bring up on screen. Start lending. They have like, it's kind of like TradFi mixed with DeFi, like a RWA basically. So the collateral is actually held in a bank. You don't have like the same sort of smart contract risk or this sort of shit. And I have like my stables in these sort of pools. I actually have one in it's called receivables financing. If you go into it, but it's like it's collateralized against COVID tax credits. Yeah, that one's a bit dicey, I'm telling you. But I'm taking my money out as we speak. But yeah, there's but they have some other stuff in there. Like you can get 20% on stablecoin secured lending there, which is pretty good actually. I'd recommend looking at that for if you want something a bit a bit out there that isn't putting your money in a bank, but you have some stables. You just want to be like, I just want to have some yield. Yeah.
What's the yield on it?
Well, the one that I had, I got an average yield. I had it in there for about a year, and I got about a 17% yield on this receivables financing. Although I'm in the I'm in the process of taking it out, but you can basically do DeFi lending to them at 20%. And how it works is it's not really on chain. So like there are certain financial institutions that in crypto that don't actually want to use Aave, or they don't want to use they want to be able to borrow like without the smart contract risk, because maybe they're not even allowed to take the smart contract risk. So you basically do lending to those sort of firms, kind of like bank to bank, and then they do what they want in crypto with it. It is collateralized against crypto at the same time, but there's no risk that somebody like hacks in and takes all the TVL. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
20%, and it's collateralized at like. Let me have a look at it. It's high. It's high. High yield secured lending. I need to look into the exact details though. But you basically, if you were looking for something a little bit more risky, you can look at if you go to rwa.xyz. There is some interesting shit in the RWA space that you can look at. Which if you have crypto wealth and you're like, oh, I want to do some cool stuff. A lot of it's just straight into treasuries, but some of it is just more interesting stuff.
I will. I will not look into it. But cheers.
You want to put your money into fucking short-term gilts? I'm giving you something here.
You know, I'm feeling like I'm in this one of these moments where it's like, so on my bank account, I got locked out. I froze out my bank account for like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and I had to like go through this whole thing about like telling them all, everything and going through every transaction, all that stuff. And I was just like, man, like, I don't even know where to put money at the moment. It's like I can't really put it in obviously I have it in a bank account, but like it like sporadically gets frozen, so I don't have full control over it. Like it's obviously quite shit. Can't really have it in Bitcoin. I mean, you can, but like, it's so volatile that you can't just hold like loads of money in it. And then you can have it in stable coins, I guess. But then remember like USDC lost its peg a year ago. Like it's not just like unless you have cash under your mattress.
You're a cat. Wow, we're really fucking.
But how else? There's nothing else that's safe unless you. But even cash under your mattress is not fully secure.
This is not stablecoin invest. Although you do invest in stablecoins, they hold it as dollars, right? So you don't even have the stablecoin depeg risk here. If that makes any sense to you, but
yeah, it does. Not. No, I'm just saying it's just like if you had £1 billion, where would you put it? Yeah.
I think if you're a billionaire, you probably buy Bitcoin. I've said this for a while.
If you had £1 billion that you made from crypto, what would you do? And you're not allowed to go live in Dubai.
We're at the cash under the mattress stage of the bull market. Are you getting into real estate? Maybe are you going to become
so illiquid though, right? Like if you want to suddenly liquidate your real estate portfolio, you can't. Like, and a lot of
I think you could buy like gold bars and stuff like that if you really wanted to get that. But I think crypto just beats all these. I really do. You just got to find the right thing. If you've made a lot of money in crypto, right? Let's say you have made 8 figures in crypto, and you're earning 20% on a stablecoin fucking yield. You're like golden. You don't need to just put it under the mattress.
Yeah, true. But there's definitely like price volatility in Bitcoin still. Like Bitcoin can still drop 80% at the end of a cycle and then obviously go up 3, 5, 10x. So
I invested a lot in whiskey. I told you about this, didn't I?
How liquid is that? Like if suddenly someone's like, oh hey, you wanna get involved in this meme coin, can you
yeah, you can invest in whiskey. It's like receivables financing. So yeah, it's more like a 3-year trade or a 4-year trade for some of these things. But it's tax-free. And so is wine. So like you can invest in whiskey and wine, but wine makes like 10% a year on average, but hasn't done well for the last couple of years. You could buy Rolexes and shit like that. Or yeah, whiskey's like out of all those luxury goods, whiskey's done the best. Like it's like a 22% average IRR for the last 15 years or something ridiculous. I'm getting slaughtered in the comments, but
yeah, you're getting absolutely slaughtered.
yeah. Look at that. You could do that, but let's be honest, you're not going to do that, are you? I always pick. I'm always the one who pitches the crazy idea to you, and then you don't.
Sometimes I come around. Like, to be fair, you pitched NFTs as a crazy idea in 2021, and I didn't bite at first, and then 2 or 3 weeks later I did. But it took you buying something for 30 grand and selling it for 250 grand for me to do that, right? Like I wasn't just like.
There is something to be said. Like luxury goods are getting hammered right now because China's going through this. Yeah, look at that. That's the wine market has not done well for the last 2 years. Whiskey is very different, but all luxury goods are like this. So what's been happening is China, which bought all the luxury goods in supply for the last 20 years, is going through a property crisis. Everyone's fucking broke, and everyone is just hammering all the luxury goods that they've bought. So wine, whiskey, all the luxury goods companies will keep missing earnings. And if you've seen, they're all getting hammered. Rolexes, diamond prices, man. Have you seen the price of diamonds? They're getting absolutely fucking hammered. It's like really bad for luxury goods, but that may be a good time to buy, you know. That will eventually come to an end, I reckon.
They're just not liquid though, are they? Like, if you want to just like, someone's like, oh, you got to buy this right now. You're like, oh, okay, let me just go and sell my wine. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I
did ask my fucking wine person the other day. I was like, "Oh, how long would it take to sell this?"
Did he reply?
I didn't like the answer. That way.
Was he like, well?
When I asked him if I could buy it, he was like, "Oh, you know, fine, we can get it. We can get you a whole portfolio in a month or something like that." And then when I asked to sell it, he was like, "Yeah, no, mate, that's been a while. This one."
Just caught a bad time in the market. Can't really sell it.
The bid offer in luxury goods is bad at the moment, but if you're a buyer, it's good. Particularly, you know what the really good time is? At the end of each year, because a lot of people move to sell for taxes, and at the end of the year, like goods, and often if it's down, they'll take a tax loss on it. I think in the US, whiskey or wine investing is not tax free in the US. So that often you get like good supply of shit towards the end of the year. People hitting down bids on like portfolios. Yeah, you can buy a bunch of Marlboro Reds.
They don't expire.
Yeah.
Well,
so you're getting into the trading of ciggies. Is that where we're at?
We're at time here, and I feel like we've just had another.
It's you, man.
Sorry, yeah.
Bitcoin's come back a little bit, at least.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for Q4. I think there's going to be some cool stuff that's coming.
Tobacco stocks.
I'm not lying. I did look at British American tobacco because it has quite a high dividend yield. Yeah.
You're looking at dividend yield stuff.
I was, yes.
Oh my god! You're going to go back on the what's it called? LondonStockExchange.com.
LSE forums.
LSE forums.
I was I'm not lying. I literally Googled the other day high dividend yielding stocks in the FTSE 100. Like that's how like extremely boomer I've got. Yeah, I'm just need a day off or something, and then.
Yeah, I think you need to take a month off.
I can't take a month off.
Collectibles, man. I do think collectibles are the trade, but they've been through the ringer for the last 2 years. In general.
Like watch, like if you look at the luxury watch market, like that stuff is pretty down only as well. Like
right, but this is this China thing I was telling you about.
Yeah,
there will be a really good bottom to buy this stuff, particularly stuff with only fixed supply, right? Like, I don't know. Rolexes feel a little bit like they increase supply to meet demand, but for some of these other goods where it's like far more limited supply, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when OSF predicted 100K Bitcoin at the end of Q1?
To be fair,
nah, mate.
I said number one, I said H1, and number two, I said if the ETF flows continue at this rate, and they obviously didn't continue at that rate. So I'm very good at hedging my commentary, so I can always get out of it if I'm wrong. That's some little trick you learn.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well,
yeah. See you, boys.
See you, boys. See you next week. We'll be talking about which dividend stocks and short-term gilts you can get into by next week.
We'll be back. Oh yeah, don't forget to claim your free bonus strand code Buble, BUBLE50 on rewards.rektdrinks.com. And I think we're at that point where people feel like shooting themselves in the head, and that's usually when you're going to hold on the most. So I think we'll be back. We're on for a big Q4. That's what I'm.
Big Q4. All right.
I'm for a big Q4. Yeah.
In gilts.
See you next week, guys.